Matt Lenihan, Boxing Social, in association with Empire Fight Store. Been joined by Dev Sahni. Dev, look, we think this is going to be an absolutely mega week. Let's start with this card. A lot of people on social media are saying this is the best fight card in the UK this year, and it'd be hard to argue. So many title fights, so many 50-50s, some huge talents on this card. Just give us your verdict on what's been put together by Frank Warren here.
I was thinking about this on the way up. I was thinking, okay, we're saying it's the best one, but has there secretly been a better one in the UK? Is there one? And I was racking my brains. There isn't. There really isn't. I mean, and also, it's so many fighters in probably the most important fights of their career. That doesn't happen very often at all. Echo Esserman can't afford to lose to Harry Scarf. He's unbeaten. He wants to become a world champion. Ennis has been upgraded to full world champion now, so Echo is knocking about. Eventually, he'll fight Jaron Ennis. That's the kind of plan here. But he needs to come through Harry Scarf, who's a horrible fight to take beforehand for anyone. So things like that. Liam Davis, he's got ambitions of becoming a world champion. Needs to get through someone who is unbeaten, will come with hunger, this La Famina fella. So many just important fights. Nick Ball, we've been hyping him up no end. Can't go and lose to Dogbay now, right? But, oh mate, I just can't wait for it. There's this Nathan Heaney, his whole dream is to become British champion. That's his dream. He's got a nightmare in front of him though in Denzel Bentley. So, I don't know, I don't even know where to start, mate.
You know, when we talk about boxing, and often the thing that has let it down over the years is when you see a fight card and barring one, you can normally sort of have half a guess on what's going to happen throughout the cards, and you get the odd upset here and there. But this one, from top to bottom, that Bentley Heaney, even the main event, obviously Nick Ball's having a step up. We've seen his trajectory skyrocket. He's going against the guy who's been in with the likes of a Navarrete and only lost to high-level operators, and he's been world champion himself. So when you look at it like that, how much does it sort of excite you on what we're going to see this Saturday?
It's very exciting. I'm a bit of a weirdo. I just can't stop thinking about it. I can't stop thinking about what happens, honestly, when that first bell rings for Nick Ball and Dogbay. And it's not even like...
Fireworks.
Yeah, it's fireworks. But Dogbay's not just like some old faded force who's over the hill and it's Nick Ball's step up and getting him at the right time. No. This is a final eliminator. Dogbay wants to become a world champion again. He's only lost to the very, very best fighters in the world. Emmanuel Navarrete is one of the best out there, as is Rosie Ramirez. They're his two losses. So if Nick Ball is able to beat him, and even better, do a big job on him, that's an amazing statement. So it's very important that he comes through that one. I can't wait for it. And it's, again, Dogbay's not done. He's 29 years old. He's ready to go.
I was going to say, when you look at, like I said, when you look at the losses and you look at his age, these aren't like aging fights where he's doing this, taking a lot of punishment. He's just been in there with good fighters, solid fighters. So you look exciting. I'm sure, look, you can't say a lot, and not a lot of people can, because we're hearing a lot of big things are happening this week. So let's just put it like that. Some rumoured fights between the likes of an Anthony Joshua versus an Otto Wallin, Deontay Wilder, Joseph Parker. These fights seem to have come out of nowhere. Now, if these are to happen, obviously it's terrific. I want to just start with the fight potentially between Joshua and Otto Wallin. Yourself, Frank, for a long time have been quite adamant, look, Anthony Joshua will not be fighting Deontay Wilder next. Eddie Hearn's been saying that is Anthony Joshua's next fight for a long time. Why do you think, if this is to happen, that not going down the route of Joshua Wilder next, and we were having an Otto Wallin in between, and obviously Deontay Wilder allegedly fighting Joseph Parker? Why are we not seeing, if this is happening, Joshua Wilder, in your opinion?
I think there's a lot of rumours out there at the moment, and fans are very excited. There's a lot of people talking. I, for one, am hoping we get a lot of answers to questions like that this week. So I'm going to remain pretty coy on it, because there's a lot of stuff that I don't know. There's stuff that I do know, but let's see what happens.
In terms of Tyson Fury's next move, a fight touted for February. Oleksandr Usyk, that's no secret, has been out for a long time now after the 23rd was completely sort of rubbished. What do you make of suggestions that Tyson Fury might not fight again? And people saying things like that comes as a bit of a surprise from one performance. People questioning him. Obviously, I suppose in some categories, rightly so, because Ngannou was better than people unexpected. But retirement, really?
Not for me. Not from everything I've heard is that he is fighting Oleksandr Usyk. they have signed to fight each other. And I saw George Groves' thing saying, well, who cares? They signed to fight each other in December. Something did happen, though, before that. Something did happen that we didn't expect to happen. We didn't expect Francis Ngannou to perform like he did, to knock Tyson Fury down, to mark him up and actually give him a hard fight. So that's why it's not happening December 23rd, because Tyson needs to recover. It's just common sense. So it's going to happen. That's everyone's understanding of it right now. And I'd say any suggestions he's going to retire, I just think people will be deleting a lot of tweets and regretting what they're saying.
Are you surprised at George's comments? Obviously, George's long-standing history in the game, former world champion himself. Are you surprised at his comments about Tyson?
Indifferent. I mean, Tyson's got people that love him. He's got people in the middle. He's a guy that divides opinion a lot of the time. George Groves can say what he wants to say. He's a pundit, and pundits are going to pundit.
In terms of the aftermath of obviously Fury and Ngannou, he did receive obviously criticism. Like, if he wins, he receives criticism. If he loses or goes close, he'd receive criticism. But what have you sort of made of the aftermath of that event? It was one of the wildest events, the wildest weeks I've ever seen. But what have you made of sort of the backlash that's come off that?
Firstly, the event was just immense, absolutely amazing, unforgettable. My God, I'm just thinking about it now, going a bit sort of.
It's one of them surreal moments where you're looking around going, is this happening?
Me and Andy Clark was doing the live stream, and we were just hoping to grab a few guests as they came in. And it was just like the Brazilian Ronaldo, followed by Manny Pacquiao, followed by Lennox Lewis. Just crazy, just like unforgettable. In terms of Tyson Fury's criticism, if he'd have won, if he'd have knocked him out in the first round, people would have criticised him. This is why, one of the reasons why it's the riskiest fight of his career, which I said in the build-up, because if there's any scenario where he looks like he shouldn't in the fight, people are going to say he's finished. People are going to be picking apart his resume. Boxing fans have very, very short memories, and boxing fans with short memories, combined with perhaps not liking Tyson Fury, they can be very sharp with their words. However, he's had it all before. Don't worry about that. He's been written off plenty of times before in his career. The Otto Wallin fight, wasn't he meant to be finished after that? Hey, how are you struggling with Otto Wallin? How can that happen? Look at that cut on your head. You got Deontay Wilder next. He's going to knock you out. No, he knocked Deontay Wilder out. Hey, how can you go to Germany and fight Vladimir Klitschko? The best win you've got is Derek Chisora. He went to Germany. He fought Vladimir Klitschko. He bamboozled Vladimir Klitschko. So I actually enjoy that Tyson Fury is coming up against a bit of fire from some of the members of the public heading into this, because it will light something in him.
I was about to say, do you think that will fuel him? Because we all know when we see Tyson on that night, it wasn't a version of him I don't think I've ever seen. Do you think that will sort of light a fire? Because he always seems to be his own motivation kind of thing, loves to train every day, etc. But do you think with the things that are being said, he'll be like, you know what, I've sort of proved people wrong before? Because if he beats Oleksandr Usyk, do you think there's going to be people still questioning him if he beats him?
Absolutely. You wait and see.
Really? Even if he beats Usyk?
Absolutely. If he beats Oleksandr Usyk, right, all the backers will be talking about how, this is fantastic. He's undisputed. He's done it. He's one of the best ever. And all the haters will be saying, he's quite a lot heavier than Usyk, wasn't he? Oh, do you know, if they were the same weight, what would happen? And they'd also be saying...
Surely not now, though.
Oh, you wait and see. Trust me on this. Mark my words. And they'll be saying, Usyk, I'll tell you what, 36, I don't know, maybe he's getting on a little bit. People find ways of diminishing the credentials and the accomplishments of others, and it will always happen in boxing.
One of the positives to come away from, a number of positives by the way, from that Saudi card, we saw some terrific heavyweight bouts. Obviously Fabio Wardley, David Adelaide, Joseph Parker, Simon King. Joseph Parker looked one of the best versions of himself I think we saw in a long time. And when you look at a potential Wilder fight, a guy who's been inactive, although he has that right hand which can switch anybody's lights, I think we all agree on that. It's one round in, half a round in, 18 months? If that fight is to happen, how big a chance do you give Joseph Parker, former world champion, who now seems like with Andy Lee, it's coming together a little bit more?
Yeah, I mean, look, again, I don't know if that fight's happening.
Theoretically, if it did.
Theoretically, a fight between the former WBC World Heavyweight Champion and the former WBO World Heavyweight Champion is, for me, a tremendous fight. Joe Parker has got a great chin. We've only seen it cracked once by Joe Joyce, and that was largely through just wearing him down and exhausting him. So Deontay Wilder's a completely different style to Joe Joyce. I don't know. It's a great fight, though.
Some huge fights coming up at the other end of the year. Obviously, not on the Queensbridge side, but I want to talk to you a little bit about Katie Taylor, Chantelle Cameron. Just quickly, your opinion. How does that fight play out? All to do for Katie, considering how the first fight went, but she's rose to the occasion before. How do you see it?
Yeah, look, I'm a fan of Katie Taylor. I'm a fan of both of them. I'm curious to see how Katie Taylor reacts to this. The first loss of her career. We hear about how she just locks herself away, doesn't talk to anyone, doesn't do any media or anything like that, and that's got her to this point. What are those moments going to be like where now she's training, now she's sitting there on her own, and she's got to think, this girl who I'm going to fight, she's already beat me. She's a bit bigger than me. She was a bit too much for me perhaps the first time. What more can I do at my age? Because she's 36 now. Yep. How can I beat her? So I'm very curious if she's able to. Look, she's already cemented her legacy as maybe the greatest female fighter of all time. But if she adds this to it, I think it becomes without question. I think it sets her apart.
You think this would be her biggest achievement?
Absolutely, because you're bouncing back from a loss against someone who is bigger, younger, fresher, tail up, and has that confidence. She does this. People will be talking about her for a long, long time.
Week after in Belfast, obviously, I know you were there last time for Michael Conlan's fight with Alberto Lopez, Nick Ball being on the undercard, Michael versus Jordan. Would you potentially, obviously, I know he's in a world title eliminator, but that could be a big fight down the line for Nick Ball, Michael, the winner of that fight, something like that?
So Nick Ball is, if he performs like sort of Queensbury think he can perform in this fight, and it's a tough fight. I think Dogbay may be a level above some of the fighters that you're naming. It might be a tougher fight than guys like that. But he is in the mix. He's already got a tremendously growing profile, which always helps. He's becoming a bit of a king around Liverpool, and I think everyone in Liverpool has seen him run past their window at some point now. He's becoming a bit of a face around there, and big performance means it is inevitable that these big fights will come, even bigger fights.
And finally from me, Jaron Ennis upgraded to full world champion. Terence Crawford obviously relieved of that belt. What do you make of that? With obviously the Spence rematch coming in, is this the IBF doing what the IBF do and saying, look, no, we're strict, we're doing this? Do you think it's fair? Do you think it's unfair? We've seen champions maybe get a little bit of leniency, but what do you make of it, honestly?
The first thing I thought is, I just thought that IBF do that. I remember when Cordina, when Tyson beat Vladimir Klitschko, all those belts were then should have been tied up for their scheduled rematch, but the IBF stripped them because they didn't agree with the rematch clause or whatever. So I guess they are just following their rules, but they're doing what they've got to do.
How highly do you rate Jaron Ennis? There's a lot of fights coming up now. I think this is going to be the year where we start seeing maybe the names on the record and he starts, cementing how good he really is. How highly do you rate him? Is he up there with a Crawford? I know the names aren't there, but skill-wise from what you've seen?
From what I've seen, he looks amazing and he looks really big for welterweight as well. I remember speaking to David Avanesian when we had Avanesian and was going through all the welterweights out there and who he'd fight and what he thinks of them, kind of thing. And when it came to Boots Ennis, he talked about, he's massive. That guy's huge. So that kind of stands out to me. But obviously, if he gets in the ring with Eko Esserman, he'll get run over.
Dev, I love you. You are the perfect company man in a really funny way. Dev, look, I appreciate your time. Hopefully we'll be catching up this week at some point regarding other things. Thanks for talking to Boxing Social as always, and we will catch up soon.
Pleasure as always, my friend.